You ever have those mornings where you walk into the shop and the air just smells like possibilities and expensive mistakes? Happy Friday, April 17th. I'm Tiger, and we're back in the den.
It's 2026, Tiger. Most of our listeners are probably smelling ozone and resin fumes before they even get their coffee.
Fair point. I'm still a sawdust behind the ears kind of guy. But even I have to admit, the tech is moving faster than a dull chisel through soft pine.
Speaking of tech moving fast, you've been staring at the specs for that new FlashForge Creator 5 all morning. You look like a kid looking through a toy store window, but everything in the store costs 3 months of mortgage payments.
It's a beauty, Alex. It really is. For years, we've been fiddling with IDEX, those dual extruders that kind of shuffle back and forth like two shy kids at a school dance. But the Creator 5, it's got 4 independent tool heads. It's a full-on mechanical ballet.
Okay, explain it to me like I'm the person who still struggles to level a bed. Why do I need 4 heads instead of just a swappable nozzle?
Efficiency, pure and simple. Imagine you're building a complex part. You want a rigid main body, maybe some flexible TPU gaskets, and then you need soluble support so you aren't spent 3 hours picking plastic bits out of the crevices with a pair of tweezers. In the old days, every time you switched materials, you'd have to purge the nozzle. It was like trying to paint a rainbow with one brush. You spend more time cleaning the bristles than actually painting.
And the ooze factor? You've complained about that since the day we met.
Oh, don't get me started. Nothing ruins a professional prototype like a tiny string of black PLA embedded in your pristine white casing. With this tool changer, the heads that aren't working just sit in the corner and wait their turn. No dragging, no dripping, no mess. It's FlashForge basically throwing down the gauntlet at Prusa and Snapmaker. They're saying high-speed, multi-material fabrication isn't a hobbyist dream anymore. It's the baseline for a pro workshop.
I'm guessing it's not exactly budget-friendly for the average DIYer just wanting to print D&D miniatures.
If you're just making goblins, this is like buying a semi-truck to go get a gallon of milk. But if you're running a business, it's the difference between a project taking 3 days or 3 hours.
Transitions are my specialty, so let's talk about those businesses for a second. We saw the data for 2026 this week, and the job market is doing something weird. General construction is cooling off, but if you can wire a complex circuit or fix a massive HVAC system, you're basically a rock star right now.
It's the AI ripple effect. Everyone thinks AI is just some lines of code floating in a cloud, but that cloud has a physical address. It's made of steel, concrete, and thousands of miles of copper. These AI data centers are popping up like mushrooms after a rainstorm, and they're thirsty for power and cooling.
So, the people building the brains of the future are actually the electricians and pipe fitters?
Exactly. You're not just pulling wire for a porch light anymore. You're cooling racks of servers that generate enough heat to roast a pig. It requires a level of precision that's more like high-end watchmaking on a massive scale. If you're a Sparky or a tin knocker right now, the smart money is on getting specialized in those infrastructure builds.
Is it true you almost became an electrician before the woodworking took over?
I spent one summer pulling rummocks in attics that were about 120 degrees. I learned 2 things. I have a healthy respect for electricity, and I'm much better at cutting wood than I am at standing in fiberglass insulation all day. But seriously, the pressure in those high-stakes jobs is no joke. I'm glad to see big firms like Bechtel finally talking about mental health.
Yeah, it's a big shift. Usually, the tough guy culture in the trades meant you just sucked it up until your back gave out or you burnt out.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. If you don't maintain the guy holding the wrench as well as you maintain the wrench itself, the whole operation falls apart. Taking a minute to check your head is just as much a safety protocol as wearing your steel toes. If you're listening to this and you're feeling the grind, look into those resources like NabTU. It's okay to admit the battery needs a recharge.
Let's pivot to the business side of making. Maker Mogul Corner. We're seeing this rise of the brand genius creators, people like Dakota Ray Lowe. It feels like the era of just having a shop is over. Now you have to be a producer, a writer, and a marketing executive too.
It can feel a bit like you're being forced to perform for treats, doesn't it? But here's the reality. In 2026, the product is the souvenir. The real value is the story of how it got made.
You always say people don't buy the table, they buy the person who bled onto the table, which, by the way, is a very gross way to put it.
Maybe a bit graphic. But look, if you're relying on the Instagram algorithm to feed your family, you're building your house on someone else's property. The creators who are winning right now are diversifying. They've got a Substack community where they share the nitty-gritty details, a LinkedIn for the business of making side, and they treat their 1,000 core followers like gold.
It's that micro influencing thing. You don't need a million teenagers liking your videos. You need 50 people who want to buy your digital plans and 10 people who want to commission a $5,000 cabinet.
Specificity is your friend. If you try to talk to everyone, you end up sounding like a generic hardware store commercial. If you talk about that one specific way you hand cut dovetails using a 40-year-old saw you found in a barn, that's magnetic. People want the human element. They want to know your process is as messy and rewarding as theirs is.
Speaking of messy and rewarding, concrete. We saw that showcase of 7 outdoor kitchens this week. Every time I see a concrete countertop, I think I should do that. Followed immediately by I will definitely ruin my backyard.
Concrete is the ultimate high-risk, high-reward DIY move. It's basically liquid stone. You feel like a god for 5 minutes while you're pouring it, and then you spend 3 days praying it doesn't crack like an old sidewalk.
Give us the TigerDen secrets to not ending up with a pile of gray rubble.
Okay, look. First thing, the form is your destiny. If your melamine mold has a scratch the size of a hair, that concrete will find it and preserve it forever. It's a mirror. If the mold isn't perfectly level and glass smooth, your countertop won't be either. Spend 3 times longer on the form than you think you need to.
And the reinforcement? I've seen people just toss some chicken wire in there and call it a day.
That's a one-way ticket to Heartbreak City. You need proper rebar or mesh, especially for outdoor builds. Between the summer sun baking it and the winter frost trying to heave it, that concrete is under constant tension. It's like a living thing that wants to pull itself apart. You have to give it some backbone.
What about those air bubbles? Nothing ruins the look like 1,000 tiny pinholes on the surface.
This is where you get to have some fun. Once you pour, you've got to vibrate the heck out of it. You don't need a professional vibrator. Just take your palm sander, put a high grit pad on it, and run it all along the outside of the forms. It's like magic. You'll see those little bubbles rise to the top like they're gasping for air.
It sounds like a lot of work for something I could just buy as a slab of granite.
Sure, you could buy granite, but you can't embed fiber optic lights into granite to make it look like a galaxy or cast a custom copper drain directly into the stone. That's the flex. It's entirely yours.
It's the making part of maker crafts. The struggle is the point.
Exactly. Whether you're wrestling with a 4-headed 3D printer or trying to keep a data center from melting down, it's all about the problem solving. That's the common thread.
So, what's the big takeaway for this week? For the person sitting in their garage right now, looking at a pile of scrap wood or a broken down welder?
I'd say this: don't be afraid of the unmaking. Sometimes you have to tear down your old way of doing things or your old mold to build something that can actually handle the weight of what's coming. Technology like the Crater 5 or the shift in the trades, it isn't here to replace us. It's just a bigger hammer. You still have to be the one who knows where to hit the nail.
Spoken like a man who has definitely hit his thumb a few times.
At least twice this morning, but the table still looks good.
That's it for this Friday episode of the TigerDen. If you want to see the diagrams for that concrete pour or the specs on the data center surge, head over to the blog.
Peace out, makers. Go make something that lasts longer than the weekend.